Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Just shall we kick things off and get it rolling?
Yeah, I think we're ready. I think we're ready to kick it off. You can feel free to keep jumping in the chat there if you like. So today's session is brought to you by Bucketlist Rewards, the #1 employee rewards and recognition platform. And we have three of us on today's session. So we do have myself, Becca, and Aaron. And just to do some quick intros, so my name is Jessica, and I'm a workplace culture fanatic. I really love to help people thrive within their workplace. Outside of work, really enjoy spending time with my family. And I know some of you can relate to this, that one of my hobbies is going to bed early. So if that's not the most adult thing ever, and one of my bucket list items is actually to be a mascot at a major sporting event. I think it would be really cool. Probably also really hot inside, but really cool. Aaron, how about yourself?
Hey, that's and by the way, my mouse is super eager today to get into this. I noticed that it already went ahead one slide, but we're back here. Yeah, mascot's really cool. For me, I'm a culture advocate here at Bucketlist Rewards with 12 years of marketing and advertising experience. I'm a strong advocate for employee rewards and recognition, and I love cultures built around having fun and being yourself. But by night, I'm a dad bod father of three who loves playing sports, specifically hockey, for all those in Canada and anywhere else. Just recently, I even started my own draft style ice hockey league. So when I'm not playing hockey or spending time with my family or friends, you can likely find me playing darts or board games from my collection of over 140. How about yourself, Becca?
Thanks, Aaron. And I'm always amazed every time your board game number just goes up. So you expand your collection. I love it. For me, hello everyone. I'm Rebecca. I'm the community manager here at Bucketlist Rewards, and one of my top passions is all about bringing people together through the power of community. And I have a really, really random background in community. I have worked in a bunch of really different industries, from digital mental health to HVAC, PDF editing softwares, and now employee engagement. But no matter what industry I'm in, one thing I found always stays the same, which is that people really enjoy building those human connections and fostering that genuine relationships with one another. And so I'm just really excited to dive into this topic with all of you today.
Awesome. Thanks, Becca. So just some housekeeping items so we can make the most of our time together. Chat box, as Aaron mentioned at the beginning, if you want your message to go out to everybody, just make sure that you have it selected to everyone. You can send us private messages if you like as well. For the Q&A, make sure you put your questions in the box, in that Q&A box at the bottom of your screen so that we don't lose them. We will try to answer as many questions at the end as we can. The polls, we will run some polls throughout our session today. Now the polls are anonymous, so we would love to hear what you think. Near the end, we'll go over the credits, your professional development credits. And for anyone wondering, the session is recorded. So you will have an email sent out afterwards with the recording in case you want to watch it later on. Now, in the spirit of building community, which is what we're all about here, is kicking off with a lovely icebreaker. So love to hear what your favorite team bonding activity is. Feel free to type that answer in the chat. And to kick us off, Becca, curious to hear what your favorite team bonding activity is.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I would have to say the virtual escape room, just because I really like escape rooms in real life. But of course, everyone being remote and distributed now, it's so hard to get everyone together into like a physical room. And so I've been finding that venue really, really fun and interesting. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm actually distracted by what everyone else is saying here, but I'm going to stick with the virtual theme here. At Bucket List, we've used this app called Kahoot. I really enjoy that because, we're creating all our own questions with fun facts about our peers and coworkers. And hey, we learn some really interesting things when we do those sessions. So I really like that there. And yeah, one of the examples, two truths and a lie, is something that we would include in there. So, and if you haven't already figured this out, we really love engagement here. So just continue to use the chat, and let's just make this interactive and fun as we go through the session today.
There's so many fun ideas here. I want to do all of them.
I'm seeing Donna, but saying the ice cream social. Oh, ice cream's my favorite. They actually opened a Baskin Robbins, which in Canada, I don't know if you have them in other areas of the world, but it's an ice cream shop. They opened it right across from my house. It's been very dangerous.
My favorite ice, I know we're not getting the rabbit hole of ice cream here, but I don't know. Marble Slab is my favorite. Big fan of Marble Slab if you have that in your area.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for sharing your favorite activities there. Quick agenda here. So we are going to start off with some industry trends. So talk about the ROI behind culture. Then we'll go into the framework. So 3 things to consider when you are building engaging human-centric cultures. Then we're going to cover some strategies. So 4 practical strategies to help you foster employee engagement to really get those connections going. And then we'll wrap up at the end with the credits, key takeaways, and Q&A. And of course, we would love to hear your questions. So continue to pop them into that question box you have at the bottom as well. Now over to you, Aaron.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that, Jess. Alrighty, so let's kick it off with part 1, industry trends, how to build a successful culture of connection. So as we move along, we'd love to hear any thoughts you have as the discussion goes on. You already seem really good at sharing, in the chat here, so let's keep that up. But perhaps you've seen some examples that have worked well in your own experience or some stories. So yeah, keep on sharing because it seems like we have a really good community of folks here. And in the spirit of keeping this interactive, we have another poll here. So we're going to launch this up here in a moment. Which area of culture do you think are the most important to develop? And what does your organization tend to focus on when it comes to workplace culture development? So you should see that poll coming up now. Feel free to participate. And yeah, let's see what we come up with here. All right. Do you guys see the poll? There we go. Okay, I'm seeing some. Yeah, we're seeing some results come in. Very nice. Now maybe my computer's just a little slow right now because like all of a sudden it was like just a wave of results coming in. There they go. Wow, it's all over the place. And we'll be sharing these with you in a moment as well so that we can discuss this. Anything standing out for you, either of you, Jessica or Rebecca?
I would say actually the personal development. I would not have expected personal development to be quite as high as it is. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, that's great to see. Yeah, and recognition and appreciation, of course, that's up there as well. So nice to see that. I mean, they're all great. None of these are really wrong answers.
Yeah, I think what we wanted to also achieve when asking this question was just to see kind of what's happening in the organization versus like what we think is like really important. And so it is interesting to see how the results are differing.
We'll go ahead and end the poll and we can see those results then.
I always forget that people can't see it and we get the preview.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think they're being shared right now. So yeah, we're commenting on it and it's like, what are they talking about? So everyone should be able to see those now as well. And as you're viewing those, I'm actually just gonna, with the nature of time, gonna continue on here. So there are a lot of great benefits to building human connections within an organization. Improve productivity, increase retention, reduce burnout, improve mental health. These are 3 things that are huge issues that culture leaders are battling today. So example, let's take a deeper dive into improved productivity. 96% of talent professionals believe employee experience is essential for workplace productivity. For increased retention, 31% of employees quit a job within the first 6 months. And then reduce burnout, improve mental health. When you feel connected to your peers, you know that you have the support of your peers to lean on when you need assistance. This gives you the confidence to show up and not feel as stressed or drained, right? You would actually look forward to your day. And I look forward to every day here at Bucketlist because, well, we are changing cultures around the world. Okay, so we have another poll. This one here. What are some of the challenges to building the culture that you envision? So we are going to pop another one up here. We said we were going to keep you engaged. I see Becca typing away there in the chat. So nice to see that there. Here we go. They're rolling in. I know, like, again, people can't, right? So as they're rolling in, distributed workforce, time constraints, leadership buy-in, all hovering around very similar results here at this moment.
Yeah. Interesting. It's like watching a race happen because you can see the bars like go up and down.
It is, yeah. They're all like neck and I think if I had a really good announcer voice, I'd probably try to like, and leadership takes the lead, time constraints not far behind, but I don't have one of those voices, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I think we can share the results now with quite a bit in there. And I also noticed that some folks in the chat said that budget is one, and I just add a note to myself next time we run this poll, we're adding that in as one of the options on this poll. So thank you for for pointing that out.
Yeah, budget. That's a really good one, and this is why we love the participation from everyone here, right? Like, you help us evolve our own presentations, and budgets should certainly be included here because that comes up quite a bit. Awesome. All right, well, building a culture for a distributed workforce is very challenging, as you've all just shared. I thought it'd be neat to kind of ground these challenges in some examples that we've seen, and I believe actually Jessica's got a really cool example from one of our clients that she'd like to share.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. So I really love this example here. It's a company, a medical lab company. And speaking of distributed workforces, it really can't get much more distributed than this. They're worldwide, across different time zones. And through COVID, they had people work from home and also have people in labs and offices as well. So they're very distributed, probably the most you could possibly be. And they reported that they were starting to feel really siloed. People were in different time zones, not a lot of connection happening. And there was a lot of disconnection and a lack of cohesiveness happening throughout the organization. So they really wanted to bring in a recognition and rewards program to help bring everybody back together, to have a central place that people can come and interact with one another, and also be able to recognize across departments, across teams, across the world, and feel that overall connection. And one of the things that I thought was really great about it is they did a survey prior to bringing the program in, and they actually surveyed after a few months. And a lot of people reported feeling way more connected and also just a lot more appreciated for the work that they're doing. So it made a major impact in this company, which was really awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Love that they even, ran a poll after the fact, just to get that feedback to it, lets them know that they're doing a lot of the right things. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. Well, how about, part two in the framework here, how to build a successful culture of connection. So as we move along, we'd love to hear again any thoughts that you have as the discussion goes on. Perhaps you've seen some examples that have worked well in your own experience, or that you have some stories. So again, continue using that chat box there and just share away. So strategy number one, build spaces and opportunities for people to have meaningful conversations and to make meaningful memories together. And I actually, well, we have another poll here, so I was gonna chat through this one here, but let's launch the other poll. And I believe Becca actually
Yeah, as people are answering, I want to just add this little tidbit. So thank you to everyone who submitted a question beforehand. And one of the questions we got was this: how to build connection in a remote environment when people have too many meetings. And so I think this is a really great question because it comes up quite a bit, because I, for one, do have meeting fatigue often. And so we really just hope that the next few slides help give a bit of inspo for this type of challenge that you're seeing. And Erin, I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. And I've seen lots of great things happen as well, where organizations are giving individuals, say, a day off to do volunteering. So everybody in the company gets a day off for volunteering, and they share those stories. But I see some really good examples coming in here, team events, in person, communication channels. And again, we're going to touch on some of these as we go through this here today. Cool. All right. Well, I guess we can end this poll and share those results. I wanted to just quickly summarize this slide here. I think it's really important that we create spaces for connection. And one of my favorite personally is actually, if you have Slack or Teams, creating channels for individuals to connect through those. Becca, you mentioned board games earlier when I was sharing my number. Like every time we do these, yeah, that number's climbing, right? It used to be 130, and then I slowly, jump into Marketplace or go to board game stores and buy new ones. But it's just ways for individuals who have things in common to have those side conversations so that they can build those relationships. It can be food related, it could be pets, and you can see some of the other examples up here. So, Jess, what are some other examples that you like where individuals can collaborate in certain spaces?
Yeah, so two examples that I can think of that I've seen that I thought were really fun. So having events maybe outside of work. I had a company where they oh, perfect. Sorry, did the poll pop up again? I'm not sure if it no, maybe I'm just seeing that on my end. Okay.
We're just sharing the results now. It's all good.
Oh, perfect. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm touching buttons I shouldn't be touching. I was gonna say though, this company put on a really great idea where they did a cook-off basically. So they got together on a day, everybody brought their own food that they wanted to bring, and they had a competition. And then they actually gave out awards through a bucket list afterwards, which was really awesome. So I thought that one was really cool. And Aaron, like you said too, having the ability for people to go out and do charity or other type of work where they can get together, pick up trash in their local parks, some way to like give back, but also get people together for a common cause. And then a lot of times what people encourage their teams to do is, take pictures and share it on the bucket list platform and really try to get everybody involved in it. So those are some great examples I've seen.
Awesome. Yeah, love all those. Big fan of photos and using media to share stories. So really like that. Awesome. Well, let's continue on here. So the key to creating space for community. All right. Consistency and frequency. And giving lots of options for participation. Keeping things top of mind through notifications. And role modeling the desired behaviors. These are a few examples that we're going to touch on as we go over the next couple slides. So in a world where we need to build relations across distances, departments, and time zones, asynchronously, employees need many different opportunities and in many different formats. For example, in-person retreat, you can see here on the left there, we have some of our team members gathering for an ATV experience. And even the photo that I have behind me here was also part of that experience. I chose ziplining through the mountains in British Columbia, but also for the areas where individuals are located geographically within certain, maybe an hour within each other, you can create meetups or social hubs. So you can see an example here of some of our team members getting together, and of course, social gatherings as well. Right, bringing people together through monthly Zoom socials or using some of the ideas that we shared earlier, like Kahoot, or fun ways just to bring your team and have virtual. And I think I see Becca and I see you there, Jess. I must have been on the second page on that one.
We did that on purpose.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't make the screenshot cut for this. I get it. Good times. All
You're
right.
usually the one taking the photos, Aaron. That's usually what's happening.
It's true. Yeah, I'm either screenshotting or photoshopping like mustaches or weird hair on people, I guess. Awesome. Okay, so when you build spaces for relationship building, no matter how great they are, getting people to make use of them requires consistent and frequent promotional communication. In marketing, there's a baseline that people need to hear a message at least 7 times before it sticks. Similarly, in our bucket list platform, we have email notifications, the ability to integrate with Slack or Teams, mobile push notifications to constantly remind people of the great community that they should partake in. Built-in email notifications and other communication channels integrations to keep top of mind as well. So there is also the ability to create events within our platform as well, just to further remind individuals of the company-driven initiatives and also to create awareness around those. Now, the other part here is role modeling, right? So remember that kid-friendly saying, monkey see, monkey do. It definitely still applies to us as adults. When building spaces, we want to encourage the building of relationships. It's important that the desired behavior is consistently and frequently role modeled. People need to see leaders use the space as well as their peers. They also need to see the great results that are coming in from it. You know, an example like a new communication channel on Slack dedicated to talking about achieving personal bucket list items. Great, you know, that's a great idea there. The more people that see peers participating and sharing, the more likely people are likely going to join in. So no one wants to be the only one talking in a Slack channel, and certainly not be the only person attending an event. That's why creating awareness and creating that community around them is important. But I want to give a recognition program example of how all these pieces of consistency and frequency can come together to help give people the space they need to build meaningful relationships. So in the bucket list platform, anyone can give recognition to anyone else. There's no limits. Once recognitions start pouring in, employers are able to see leaders give recognitions to their team, right? So you can see as an example here, regardless of the department, there's visibility. So everyone can see everyone else give peer-to-peer recognition, even if you're not the one logged into the platform 24/7. You'll see the notifications in your communication tools, whether it's Slack or Teams, and you're going to be reminded to participate. So in this way, a rewards and recognition program can be an awesome place for relationships to be built. And with that, I'm going to take a drink of water and I'm going to pass it over to you, Becca.
Thanks, Aaron. No, I love that. Just the fact that we all need constant reminders of something that's happening, some new channel that's made available. And for me, like if like an event's not in my calendar, I am not going to remember. So just all these little bits and pieces just really help people remember to show up and participate in that culture building. So thank you for going over that. So step 2 in this framework, we really want to talk about normalizing personal conversations and encouraging the sharing of personal dreams and experiences with colleagues. And so I would love to kick the section off with a quick little question in the chat box. Do you find it strange to talk about yourself at work? Do you like sharing your personal dreams and experiences with your colleagues? Jess, Aaron, do either of you have thoughts on this question?
I like to talk, so I think it's probably no surprise that I'm a pretty chatty person. I think that things are shifting a bit where we are becoming more personal at work, and I think that in a world where we are so virtual, it is something that can really help connect us. So I think it's a great thing to share those conversations, and you know, you don't have to go into great detail or share everything, but even just sharing some ideas that you have, and I guarantee other people are going to pipe up and be like, oh yeah, I want to do that, or that's cool, or something. So I think it's a great idea.
Totally. And I can see Lisa in the chat too saying that, you know, maybe you're comfortable, but sharing just a little bit. And so I completely agree. Like it can be a really, really strange feeling, especially if maybe you're like new on the team or not quite sure how the other person would take what you have to say. But I personally found it that it can be made a little bit easier just based on the prompt. And so today I wanted to share with all of you one of my favorite questions to kind of talk about at work, just because I think that this type of question, it really allows for really fun things to be shared. There's a potential to go really, really deep into someone's personal, you know, hobbies, life goals and dreams and all of that. But then it also leaves the ball in the other person's court so that they can decide how personal or how detailed they want to get. And so would love to try this question with all of you. I just love hearing people's bucket list items. And so if you're comfortable, we'd love to hear what's an item on your bucket list, or if you don't keep a bucket list personally, that's okay. What's something fun that you're really looking forward to this year? And so I'm seeing Jennifer sharing that daughter's wedding is in November. Oh, that's so exciting. Congratulations in advance. Cruise through Alaska, going to Adobe Max. Aaron, just any of these standing out to you, or anything you want to share from your end as well?
Well, I have lots of great ideas around things that I'm looking forward to this year, but specifically, I'm actually knocking something off my bucket list next month. I'm going to my first ever NFL game So I'm going to the Buffalo Bills game, and it's a primetime game, and yeah, super, looking forward to that because I've never been to a Bills game, so looking forward to that. And if you're a football fan out there, the Bills did not have a good week 1. How about yourself, Jess?
Not a sports fan, so I certainly am not checking off any sports bucket list items. I would say, well, I already said the mascot. That's definitely the one item on my list, and it's a traditional one. Just definitely some more travel. If anybody wants to take me on these Alaskan cruises that they keep writing about, or this Japan trip that I've seen in here, I'm more than happy to come along. It'd be awesome. Wendy, I will not be joining you on skydiving though. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not there either, Wendy. It'd be more like sky pushing because you're gonna push me out of the plane.
Yeah, Wendy, let us know how it goes for you. Really excited to see that happen. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for sharing. I'm just going to move on to the next slide here and just spend a little bit of time talking about why it's so powerful to connect over who we are outside of work. And I know the 3 of us chatted about it, Jess and Aaron, and I think we boiled it down to just the fact that we aren't robots, we're really human, and we just perform better overall when we're happy and we feel connected to a mission and connected to the other people around us. And I just wanted to share too another question that we received prior to the session. So someone shared that, chatting can sometimes be seen as a negative thing in the workplace that can really just get in the way of productivity. And so they're just asking for suggestions, I guess, on how to sort of combat this sort of perspective. And so totally agree. We love it when there are numbers to back things up that we believe in. And so I just thought I'd share this page full of stats. I won't be reading all these over just because I know you'll be getting the slides after the fact. But there's just been extensive research done to show that connecting with people on a personal level can really impact job satisfaction and performance. And I know we're a bit behind on time, so I'm going to speed through these next couple of slides here. Aaron, if you're okay to, thank you. And so, yeah, hopefully I've convinced you that normalizing these personal conversations around dreams and experiences is something that would be really great for human connections. But then the next step is to think of ways to embed it into the existing company infrastructure so that it really becomes habitual for everyone. And so we'll be going over 4 key areas that can help make this happen over the next few slides. So leadership, core values, and of course, recognition and rewards. So firstly, leaders really do set the tone in an organization in the sense that their actions tell the rest of us what's appropriate and what's sort of the right thing to do. And so leaders can definitely play a part in helping people feel really comfortable talking about themselves. And it can be through simple actions like, starting the interaction with non-shop talk. As an example, my team, we have a 15-minute daily huddle every morning, and without fail, it's become so ingrained with us. Every time people log on, we just ask us, oh yeah, how's your day going? Did you end up going to spin class last night? How was that salmon you said you were gonna make for dinner? And so I've been at Bucketlist for a year and a half, and so every single day just asking these little tidbits and learning these little stories about people, it's really helped me get to know people really, really well, and conversations like aren't forced, and it just feels really good to be part of this team. And our manager in particular, I find that she's been really good about remembering what we tell her we have planned for a weekend, and she'll follow up with us on Mondays to say, oh yeah, how did that housewarming go, or whatever it was that we told her. And so for me, I feel like it's just the little things that really show that the managers care, first of all, but also it shows that these types of conversations are important for teams to get to know each other, and improves like collaboration and supporting one another and all of that good stuff.
And there's a mascot here that's Jessica.
Maybe that's me, maybe it's not. We'll never know.
Never know.
Awesome. So core values, it's another area where we can really normalize that idea of talking about our dreams and our passions. And so here's just really want to share a quick client example. So Storable, they're an employer who really cares about their employees as whole people, and they've really incorporated that mentality into areas like core values, culture, and their company's perspective. And so 2 of the values that they highlight in their culture, which I think really illustrates this, is support your passions and fulfill your dreams. And so by having these as core values, it really shows people and the whole team that it's really normal and it's encouraged to talk about your dreams and your passions. And Sorbo really believes that the best way to reward people's success at work is to then help them achieve their dreams. And so this mentality just really encourages people to talk about their hobbies and build that culture that's focused on community and building relationships with one another. And then lastly, I'll talk about rewards and recognition sort of together. We will be going over recognition a lot more later down in the presentation, so I'll just go over it really briefly here. But these are just really awesome ways to also normalize conversations around dreams and passions. For example, through rewards, you can really structure them to help people make their dreams come true. And so, for example, on our platform, you can accumulate all your bucket list points and save them up for something you want to redeem to help fulfill your bucket list. And so on the left here, this is Jennifer from American Marketing Association. And so she loves to use her points towards her travel items. So she was in Belfast. I remember earlier last year, she went to Japan as well and put her points towards some excursions that she was really interested in. And on the right here, Rod, he's on our Bucketlist team. He received a core values award because we at Bucketlist we give out awards every year to people who like exemplify the core value the best. And so Rod ended up using his award to buy a set of golf clubs. He used to golf a lot when he was living in El Salvador, and I guess hasn't had a chance since he came to Vancouver. And so he was able to rediscover that hobby. And the current bucket list item that he's taking off is to try a new golf course every single month. And originally he told me it was just for the summer, but he's still doing it. And we're heading into fall and winter. So maybe this will be a year-long thing for him, which is really, really cool. And then I just want to add one last caveat about this. Of course, every organization does have a different budget when it comes to rewards, but there are definitely ways to make meaningful rewards happen on a smaller scale. And I know Jess will share this later on in the presentation too, but we do have a low budget, no budget resource. It's just full of ideas that we've seen from our clients where they don't have like a massive budget, but still want to offer something really cool. And so if anyone's interested, drop a yes in the chat box and we'll be sure to send that your way with the rest of the webinar resources afterwards. And now, Aaron, my turn to drink water. I'll pass it off to you.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, before I actually move to the next slide and we watch these yeses roll in here, I just want to highlight something here. And I didn't notice this until just recently, but you can see in Jennifer's post here sharing her experience that she earned through the organization. Look at the subheading there. AMA is hiring. So if you want to reduce hiring times, sharing stories or examples of your culture externally on LinkedIn or on social media like this can certainly help reduce hiring times, because people know other people. And I'm sure her comments were flooded with, oh my gosh, you did this through work. I see it all the time. So yeah, just wanted to call that out there. All right. So that brings us to our third step of the framework: strive towards a culture of recognition. So the act of recognition is a powerful tool in building connections because you see the impact that your actions have on someone else. A variety of emotions can be involved, vulnerability, gratitude, pride, happiness, and so on. But I'd like to take a moment now, and this is we're going to use the chat feature again here. I want to ask you all, when you receive recognition, how does it make you feel? So yeah, just share in the chat, and I'll just pause for a moment as you just let us know how recognition makes you feel.
Aaron, while we pause, I'd love to just jump in here for a quick second about something that I thought was a little bit unexpected when I really got into recognition, is how you feel when you recognize somebody. We talk a lot about how you feel when you get a recognition, but I think those feelings go both ways when you give out that recognition as well. You get to feel all these really amazing things that people are putting in the chat. So it's a domino effect for sure.
Yeah, that's a great point too. And you can see, well, everyone can see how recognition makes individuals feel when they receive it. And to your point, Jessica, it does feel really good giving recognition, because look at how you're making people feel, right? So when you have a culture of recognition, this is how you're making people feel. So recognition is a habit, and it's done meaningfully, timely, it's specific, it should be frequent, and it's transparent. So recognition also isn't just limited to KPIs and work output. The whole person is considered. Example, I once gave a recognition to a peer for going for a walk for 5 consecutive days, because in a previous conversation, he mentioned to me that something he was hoping to accomplish for that week was just going for a walk. And then lastly, when recognitions are tied to core values, it helps people see their actions, that the actions align with the company's mission. And we'll get into core values a little bit later as well. All right, so yeah, I still see individuals chatting here. So thanks everyone for being super engaged and sharing how recognition makes you feel. And you can see actually we have a couple photos of our own team members. There's Jaren there earning one of our core value awards. So I love sharing those stories. Okay, time for another poll. Does your culture live a culture of recognition mindset? So we're going to throw this poll up here, which you can see that has already come up. Let's see here. Okay, we'll be sharing these results in a moment, but right now out of the gate is I often see and hear people giving recognitions, which is good. That's good. And then I see another second place right now is I could go weeks between seeing or receiving recognition. All right. Still good that you're still seeing that. And then I see some not at alls. And I also see some yes, there's lots of recognition going around. So those are great. And we'll leave that poll up for just a moment here. And I'll just continue on to the next slide, and then we'll share those results in a moment. So having fun in an accessible way is key to not only building a culture of recognition, but for building human relationships as well. Here's an example of things companies do to have fun at work. Let's take the concept of play at work. A study by Brigham Young University found that when people played a collaborative game together for 45 minutes, their productivity increased by 20%. So what are some of your favorite ways to have fun at work? How does it help with relationship building? And I know, you've already shared some ideas early on here, but if you want to continue sharing, or for those of you who may have joined a little bit late, just continue typing away in the chat there. But of course, as a culture leaders know that implementing something like a culture of recognition successfully means that it needs to be easy for people to participate and reap the benefits. Some examples of making things easy. Well, we'll share some high-level ideas and give some examples of what that could look like while using the Bucketlist Rewards platform as an example. So making things intuitive and user-friendly. We've intentionally lowered the learning curve and made the usage similar to other social media platforms. So it's more intuitive for people to create recognition posts, and also to scroll through the newsfeed to like and comment and to engage with the recognitions, right? This way it feels familiar to the users. Take advantage of the visuals, use some fun graphics, GIFs or GIFs, depending what you call them, images, colors, emojis. Yeah, just have fun while you're doing it as well. Prizes and rewards. So rewards are fun too, right? They can offer a wide range of options depending on your budget, of course. But some examples of lower cost options that we've seen companies offer: pie in your boss's face for charity, preferred parking if you have a large facility or a production plant. One of my favorites, and this one always is a home run, is CEO calls your mom. And it's also important for it to be fair and have standardization around it. Keeping things fair and standardized means that there's no favoritism, that everything is super transparent because everyone has visibility and eyes on the recognition activity feed. And then lastly, let's get rid of that manual work. I hear so often that individuals are still capturing birthdays and work anniversaries, with Excel spreadsheets. This has to be easy for administrators too. So no more manual work or spreadsheets are required here. Automation for the win. And over the next few slides, we'll be sharing with you 4 practical strategies and tactics for fostering human connections and employee engagement. So super important for culture building. All right. So incentivize the desired behaviors, role modeling participation from the top down, tie initiatives to company core values, And then the fourth point here, celebrate the achievement of personal wellness goals. And I'm actually going to pass it over to Becca, who's going to share the first strategy with you all.
Awesome. Thanks, Erin. So the first strategy is incentivizing the desired behavior. So I'm sure we all know that incentives are really powerful in getting people to act a certain way. Like maybe your favorite restaurant chain has like a loyalty program and you go every single time, which is, I'm talking about myself here, not calling anybody else out. And so yeah, when it comes to building culture, we can really consider what incentives we can have in place to really encourage people to act a certain way and to participate in the way that we want them to. And it definitely doesn't have to be anything fancy or expensive, and it can come in the form of recognition. We see that, 92% of employees are really likely to repeat a specific action if they're being recognized for it. And so if you're throwing in recognition, it'll up the chances of participation. And then if you do decide to offer some sort of reward as a further incentive, reward incentives can often increase participation by 20 to 40%. So if you do those two things together, you'll probably get lots and lots of people behaving in the way that you want them to. And so, for example, if you're just thinking of throwing an event, you can think of what kinds of rewards or recognitions you can offer to motivate people to attend. I know in the past, people have shared that, food is a great motivator. That's a reward for showing up. And of course, it'll be different if you're doing a virtual event, but recognizing certain behaviors and then rewarding them will just really shine a light on how people are expected to behave. So how can we incentivize people to take part in building culture? So for the first example, we've included this idea of creating customized and formalized awards and badges just to recognize the very specific outcome or action that you want to see people taking. And you can pick actions or things that really just help foster those human connections. And so awards we talked about before, whether they're, monetary or not, it's just a way to show people what it is that they're expected to do. And so here's just a couple of client examples we've pulled. One client has created a car share scheme award, and the description they have for it is, thank you for enabling others to get to work, which is such a nice, warm and fuzzy. And so they're incentivizing the idea of carpooling, which is just such a great way for people to bond with each other when they're kind of on the way to the thing they have to be doing anyways. And the second one is the Happy Birthday Award. So it's really easy opportunity for people to connect with each other, giving birthday wishes, gifts, emojis. I know someone in chat earlier mentioned cake. We love cake. Cake is great. But of course, anything birthday related must be used with caution, because I know that a lot of people don't really want to be in the spotlight for their birthday, and that's completely okay as well. And the last one here, this particular client, they had a Halloween costume contest. And so they really want to incentivize people to show up, dress up. And so they created this award for it to really encourage that. And it just sounds like such a fun activity that can generate so many fun stories for the years to come. And just really quickly over the next few slides, we really want to emphasize the point that it's important to be creative and be fun around recognition and these awards that you're giving out. Injecting fun, we've seen, really helps to engage people. So an example here, this client, their entire award system, they've just made it fruits and vegetable themes. It's just so punny. The imagery is so cute. And these, one in a melon, thank you very much. It's just such a fun way to get people engaged. And I also like how they're really just opening it up with those two awards, where we don't have to recognize someone doing extraordinary things all the time. Quoting the Barbie movie, being ordinary is something that definitely should be celebrated. And we don't have to recognize being extraordinary every single time. It just really helps open up participation and lets more people be recognized and feel good. And then even if you do have more normal rewards, like service awards, mentorship awards, I've seen here clients, they're just, be really creative with the name and the descriptions. And so it's really, really meaningful when you receive something like this. You're like, oh, they thought I popped off. They thought I really made an impact, like popcorn in a hot pan. It's just so fun. It's such a great way to recognize people and breathe some life into something that's, normal. And speaking of Barbie, our team recently decided to have a lot of fun with this idea of creating Barbie themed awards. And so we just want to breathe some life into the idea of, a mentorship award or like a course completion award. And it was a huge hit. And it's just, such a great example of being really, really fun with the awards that you're giving out to people. And Erin, I'll pass it back to you.
Way to bring the Kenergy there, Becca. I haven't seen the Barbie movie yet, but I think I intend to. I hear it's actually quite well. So if anyone's seen it, yeah, would you recommend us watching it? Okay. Well, individuals are thinking and about the Barbie show. I'm going to talk about strategy number 2, role modeling the importance of building human connections. I saw a question come in a little earlier. What steps can a new leader of a work group take to create meaningful connections? So hopefully some of these ideas that I'm going to share with you are going to help. If you're on any kind of social media, I'm sure you've seen this graphic here. And if you've read the comments, then you'll know what everyone expects from their leaders. So what is a leader? A true leader is someone who inspires others to take action and encourages them to strive for excellence. Leaders also lead by example. And I'm curious for everyone here on this call, do leaders currently make it clear that building relationships is important in your organization? Again, feel free to share in the chat here. And I see people loving the Barbie movie. That's great. I do plan to see it. When leaders participate, though, it provides really good opportunities for general staff to humanize and engage with their leaders. Leaders need to be seen participating in building relationships. Employees with highly engaged leaders are 39% more likely to be engaged. And when leaders are involved, it also sets the tone and the importance for building connections and encourages others to do so as well. So there's 2 ways I'd like to highlight as ways for leaders to actively role model the importance of building human connections. As I've already shared, and I'm going to double down on this, one way leaders can help role model the desired behaviors and to get people engaged in relationship building themselves, taking the time to open meetings with some water cooler talk. Making time for water cooler talk is something like showing up a few minutes early. And Becca mentioned this earlier that on her team there, they ask like, hey, how was your weekend? Or they just have some small chat before you get into the meeting. And I know our CEO does this all the time. We're about to get into like a deep meeting. He's like, Aaron, how was your week, bud? How's it going? And I'm like, okay, Jason, let's talk about that too. Cause I think it's great when leaders are doing that. And, of course, our CEO definitely lives by that as well. And then also taking part in connection building initiatives within your organization, like donuts or visibly attending team events. And if you don't know what a donut is, it's actually a tool that you can use that automatically pairs you with individuals within your organization. You just have like a 15-minute, whatever you want to talk about, you just have a little chat and get to know some of your coworkers. But also for leaders, it's important for them to take part in the habit of giving recognition and also giving shout outs to other team members. So they need to participate in the recognition and engage with it as well. Celebrating milestones through the channels or as many channels as possible really shows that recognition is part of the fabric of the company. And lastly, back to the idea of rewards and incentives. What we've seen work really well is when leaders are okay to have some fun and be part of the reward of their teams or for their teams. Here's actually some fun examples that we've seen within our platform. Team members can redeem for like push your supervisor in a pool. I believe this was actually from like a water park. This is a great memory that team can cherish together for years to come. In another session, we actually had someone share where they shrink wrap their manager, right? And they're a furniture moving company, so that's really on point as well. And yeah, the partner calls your mom is another one there. That's a real one. So similar to like CEO calls your mom, bosses wash your car, swap offices with your boss, shadow a coworker. So lots of fun and creative ways for individuals to get involved. And I'm going to pass it back over to you, Becca.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron. So as you all know by now, I love talking about core values. So thank you, Aaron, for giving this section to me. But yeah, another way is to really just tie these culture building initiatives to the company core values. We all know that core values just really help people understand what's important to the company. And we just really want people to be aligned with them. And it's another way to reinforce the desired behaviors. And I'm gonna skip to the next slide really quickly. And so we all probably already have existing core values, and we definitely don't need to be changing them. They're there for a reason. They're part of our company DNA already. But I find that there's usually ways that we can tie the idea of building a human-centric culture directly to the existing core values. And so here are just some examples. So at Bucketlist, one of our core values is care for customers and each other. And so for us, this just means, taking the time to build meaningful relationships with our peers. And as a fun fact, we've like dug into our own data, and we saw that 59% of all the recognitions go out, we actually take this core value with it. So it means that we're, as a team, doing a great job with this core value, which is always good news. Another example, Daya. It's this one example. It is obvious how embracing family and nurturing collaboration can tie in with human connections. So that one's a pretty obvious one there. Storable, I've mentioned before. One of their other core values is feel a sense of belonging, and they just really believe that it's easier for people to be themselves and do their best work when we feel comfortable and empowered by those that we're surrounded with. So that one ties in really nicely with human connections. And Book Depot, this one I found really, really interesting. So I want to include it. Their core value, enchanting the mind, I think it also really ties in with the idea of human connections, just because this idea of enchanting the mind comes with, bringing joy, building imagination, sharing knowledge and education, and just empowering the vulnerable people within our community. And just it all just ties in really well with making human connections. And Jess, I know you've shared a couple of really really cool core values you've seen too. Would you mind taking a few seconds to share some as well?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, my voice cracked up for a second. Some other maybe non-traditional kind of core values that I've seen come through are general awesomeness, which I think is a really great one. Zest for life, relentless curiosity, and champion of sustainability. And I think this is a great reminder too, is that, sometimes companies don't have core values, or maybe they do, but when you're thinking about core values for recognition, they don't have to necessarily be your company core values. They can be program values, the things that you're looking to see people exhibiting on a regular basis. And it can really be anything that, really ties into what you're looking for there. And you can come up with some really awesome things like general awesomeness, which is great.
Awesome thing. I've even just seen one just simply giving thanks, right? So if it doesn't fall into a core value, you just have the option just to give thanks. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing that, Becca and Jess. How about that? All right, now for strategy number 4, utilizing the power of peer-to-peer recognition. And we have about 6 minutes left here, so we're going to try to get through this. And I was distracted also by Becca notifying me that the Barbie movie is now on Prime, so it's easily accessible. I don't need to worry about going to the theater. All right, so workplace cultures where peer-to-peer interaction is habitual will result in engagement with each other. From our data, we see that there's a much higher level of engagement when peer-to-peer activities encourage, 68% versus 11%. So how do you encourage people to engage with each other? Give them something interesting to talk about. Similar to the icebreaker question we had earlier today, we can learn a lot about people's hobbies and interests. It's going to help increase bonds between people that they may not have even discovered otherwise. Increasing the frequency of people recognizing each other. It creates a culture where everyone feels comfortable sharing personal goals and progress. And perhaps you'll even learn that Sam has an upcoming marathon, or that Paige is about to purchase her first home. Just say this within our platform within this week here. Actually, we just saw that someone purchased a home and we were celebrating it, right? So that's really cool. So it's really neat to have a community where you can celebrate the wins together. And we also have the ability where you can boost it. So you can see this little plus sign here, so you can really get the community behind recognition. So what can sharing and celebrating our personal wins look like? Here are some examples. At Bucketlist, it's a feature within the platform, but you can easily do this through Slack and other methods as well. Give people space to share and celebrate together. So I have a question here for everyone as I continue to chat here. Do you currently have or share personal milestones in the organization now? For example, we have Irfan here on the left, who's a coworker here. We just recently celebrated him achieving life goals. You can see we have a photo here of one of our other coworkers. Maddie's dream was getting a puppy. And Marlisa, who I had in a previous slide, she actually was knocking off one of her bucket list items by releasing baby turtles into the ocean, but her husband then proposed to her in that moment. So very cool. And of course, I know some folks here have already mentioned that they know Curtis, and there's Curtis, one of his experiences doing yoga with pigs, or laying on pigs, as he would call it. But Becca, I know you've got a really cool example here, and I'd like maybe if you could tell that story quickly.
Yeah, for sure. So one of my bucket list items this year, once the picture comes up, Aaron, was to learn how to milk a cow. And so after I did that, it was great for anyone who's wondering. But I ended up posting in our Slack channel, and what I was like really excited about was that the team also celebrated with me. You know, that's just super sweet of everyone. I really enjoyed that.
And cow emojis. I see Jess there commenting and liking. So yeah, really cool. Glad we were able to celebrate and that you were able to do that. Okay, so in summary, here are the 4 employee engagement strategies that we went over today. Incentivize the desired behaviors, role modeling participation from the top down, tie initiatives to company core values, and 4, utilize the power of peer-to-peer recognition.
Awesome. And I know we're almost at time. So Jess, if you don't mind, would you be able to post the professional development credits in the chat as I'm talking over the slide? And then, yeah, so then I can also pull Jess. So
Okay.
we're just always looking to receive feedback on these sessions. We just want to really make sure that, oh, wait, launch poll, there we go. Yeah, we just want to make sure that the info that we're presenting and the things that we're kind of presenting here is relevant and important and engaging or / enjoyable to all of you. So we just love your feedback on this poll. On a scale of 1 to 10, how did you find this? 10 being really good, 1 being like, no, please guys, don't do this ever again. And if you have any specific topics that really resonated with you, I would love to hear it in the chat box so we can kind of go over it after the fact and take that into consideration.
Yeah, awesome. I'll leave the poll up there for a while. So hopefully there was one topic, or at least something that you were all able to take away. Jessica's already posted the credits here, but they're up on the screen now for you. And if you missed them, we'll type them back into the session there. You know, and at Bucketlist, you know, we're super passionate about this. And we just wanted to give everyone a bit more context about Bucketlist, you know, and how we can help support human connections in your organization. So if you're interested in learning more, we're going to pop open another poll. So don't hesitate to respond to that as well. Bucketlist is an employee rewards and recognition platform, and building human-centric culture is something that's near and dear to our hearts. You know, recognition is just so important when it comes to helping people feel engaged. And you've already all mentioned how it makes you feel when you receive recognition. So no matter what level they sit in the organization, recognition is important. We know that there's also added challenges too when it comes to employee engagement. With lots of different generations in the workplace, different interests and needs, it can be hard to make sure that everyone feels recognized and rewarded in a way that's most meaningful to them. So if you can't already tell, we are very passionate about helping organizations build the best workplace cultures where everyone feels valued and feels seen. So if you'd like to chat further with us, we'd love to hear from you. No obligation. We'll feel free to even connect with us on LinkedIn as we share our information here on the next screen. But yeah, if you want to continue the conversation, just check yes in that box there. Love to take this offline with you. All right. We made it.
We made it. We made it. So I know we did have one question come in also through the live chat. Aaron, Beck, I'm not sure if we do have a few moments to quickly cover that one or not.
Yeah, let's tackle that one. And if anybody has any questions after a fact, feel free to directly reply to that. The emails coming to you from the webinar stuff that we send out, because they'll just go directly to my inbox, and I'm happy to get back to you on anything you may want to ask.
Awesome. So that question then is saying, I fundamentally believe in the power of this connection, but my leadership wants a trackable KPI outcome for any of these fun activities. What have you, Bucketlist, been able to align for a formal KPI on return on investment for that? Becca, Aaron, are either of you able to speak to that?
I'll just start with that. I see the individual who's made this comment here. I would say that you should reach out to us because we do have a tool. It's actually an ROI calculator that we can run through with you. So for the individuals where numbers are coming up, so let's run through an ROI calculator. Let's help you do some budgeting as well so that you can, you know, share those as well. And I think that might help give visibility on what the ROI is going to be. But yeah, Becca, what about yourself? What do you think?
Yeah, I was seeing this question and I love it, Nikki. So thank you for bringing up, like, I totally believe that connection is so important, but a lot of times things like this, it's very like intangible in the sense, so it's really important to put numbers behind it. I do believe we have some examples of this directly. So let me take this away and pull it up from the information that I have, and I'll email you back as well, Nikki.
Awesome. Great question.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. Oh, sorry, Aaron, go for it.
no, I was just saying thanks. You know, we enjoy when individuals submit questions ahead of time or even in real time. You know, I really appreciated all the engagement and the interactivity we had here today too. We had a really lively audience, so just love seeing that.